4 weeks came and went between Hungary and Belgium, and Max Verstappen came back even more refreshed than before. But how will he fare in his home race this weekend? Hello and welcome back to the Grid Talk podcast, everybody. This is episode number 226, where we're going to be previewing the 2022 Dutch Grand Prix. I'm your host, George Howson, and joining me today we have Aaron Harper from the Five Red Lights podcast.
Hello.
Karl King from the Monkey Seat podcast.
Hello.
And Warren Schorr from the Paddock Pals podcast.
Hello.
So, lads, let's get into previewing the race. Obviously, we've got the Dutch Grand Prix on this weekend at ZANDVOORT. It's Max Verstappen's home race, and with the form that Verstappen has been in, Aaron, it is very, very difficult to look past the home hero coming into this one. It almost seems that it doesn't matter where he starts the race; he's going to finish it in first, no matter what.
Yeah, it's a bit worrying, isn't it, in terms of a competitive scenario, because Verstappen is driving so well and so consistently, and the Red Bull package is so good at the moment. It's something of a throwback to more recent times with Hamilton and Mercedes, and obviously to a bit further back down the line to Schumacher and Ferrari. But I still think yesterday's performance was very track specific, and we could see Ferrari and potentially Mercedes get a little bit closer. So even if Verstappen does win, I think he won't have it quite all his own way like he did yesterday afternoon, which was, I've never seen a victory from down the order quite so easy, if that makes sense. It was just so inevitable. I don't think it will be quite the same in Holland, even though he's going to have an army of supporters there to support him. We saw how vociferous they were and how colourful it was last year. It's a very different type of circuit. Yes, there's the straight-ish from including the banking, and the run out of turn 3 down towards, I think it's turn 6, that sort of horseshoe-shaped corner it's very high speed. So a car with good aero efficiency like the Red Bull will do well there. But there are some more slow, twisty sections which might bring the Mercedes and Ferrari, especially the Ferrari, more into play.
Yeah, exactly. I know what you mean. It's it should be a bit more even this weekend. I mean, it is not easy to pass around ZANDVOORT. There's only really one proper passing spot, and that's into the Tarzan hairpin, the first corner. But aside from that, you can't really get past. Spa is just so high speed that Verstappen was. I mean, yeah, he was incredibly quick as well, which obviously helped. But it's one of the easiest tracks to pass on throughout the entire calendar, which we're going to be seeing next year as well, which is great. I got confirmed for 2023 as well, which is positive news for sure. But Warren, let's not completely discount Sergio Perez in this. He's up to second in the Drivers' Championship now. Admittedly, he finished 8th in last year's race, but he did start from the pit lane as well. He could do decent around this track, especially if the tyre wear is quite high like it was in Spa yesterday. How do you see the Mexican getting on this weekend?
I think he's going to do pretty well. Look, he's had that type of consistent season that you want from your number 2 driver, I would have to say. Like, you don't want the number 2 to be the alpha, and he definitely is not the alpha in that team. So, like, he's got the perfect role for him. I like that from him. But, this track, since it's harder to pass, you would assume minus team orders, maybe if you, like, had to be qualified on pole, that's probably the only way he's got a chance to win, right? I don't know other than that way how he wins the race, unless Max somehow like DNFs or whatever. Like, anytime something brings in, he's going to get the second strategy. But like Perez, for him, the goal should just be get second in the Drivers' Championship there. And right now he's got that. And I think he's had a pretty solid year, much better than last year.
Yeah, he's really grown into the car this year. He is doing a lot better. Unfortunately for him, Max Verstappen, I think, has just raised his game even more, to be honest. But he could do well this weekend. Perez, he's a very consistent driver. He's had a better result last week, so let's see how he gets on with that. Now we're going to move on to Ferrari next, Karl. Now, just some absolutely bonkers strategy calls again, pitting Leclerc with just a few laps to go, like they did. I think he's been demoted as well, and I think he got some sort of penalty after the race. So I think he ended up in 6th after all that too. It's been like this for a bit, but it's really now a question of when Verstappen wins the title, not if. So Ferrari, to save face, they at least have to finish second in the constructors, but they need to be getting more solid results if they're going to do that.
I think Ferrari have just given up when they're suggesting to Leclerc that the best he can do is 5th. Like, what's the point? And then comes in sixth and tries to take a fast slap off and then gets him stuck behind in a battle with Alonso was just the stupidest decision they've ever made. He could have had he didn't gain anything out of it, and would have had a safe fifth, and instead he's ended up in a sixth with a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. It was just mental, and that's all that Ferrari are ever going to be able to do at the moment. I think they've signed out. I don't know whether they've just stopped with the upgrades or whether the upgrades aren't working. I can't quite work out what's going on with them. Their strategy team needs to be fired, and they need a new strategy team. I think we can all agree on that. And, we're all armchair racers here, and not one of us could ever work out what the hell their plan was. Leclerc is a good driver, but I do wonder if the writing's on the wall for him to look elsewhere, because he's just not getting the support there at all. He's a great driver, but that Ferrari are doing Ferrari things, and we all started off the season wanting Ferrari to do really well. And unfortunately, he's not available. He's not going to do anything in this. He'll get fourth, fifth, sixth. I don't think he's even going to get third, which is what he rightfully should have. Obviously, this all depends on which amount of people decide to have energy penalties again, which obviously helped last time or yesterday. But it's just a complete joke, isn't it, in some ways?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it was so close for a while early in the season, but that's just such a long time ago now. Verstappen and Red Bull have kicked on, Ferrari have regressed, and it's just impossible to see him getting anywhere close to Red Bull for the rest of the season, really. But the team that are close to them are Mercedes in third place in the constructors. Let me just have a look at the gap. It was 30 points for the last race, so it's opened up a bit now. It's 41 because obviously only one Mercedes finished the last race. But in terms of pure pace, Aaron, even around Spa, a power track, a track that's a bit bumpier, a lot of undulation, a track where you'd expect Mercedes to struggle relatively to Ferrari, they were not far behind them, really. If they can get both of the cars to the finish, which they have done for pretty much the whole season, apart from the last race, again, it could be a good result for them again this weekend, and they could close up that gap with Ferrari.
Yeah, we've seen all the way through the season that Mercedes sort of come into their own on a Sunday, and they've really struggled this weekend in Spa in qualifying because it was just so cold on Saturday afternoon. And yet when the temperature rose on Sunday, and I know that's all sort of circumstantial, the car seemed to work again. We'll never know exactly how Lewis Hamilton's race would have panned out. Fernando Alonso saw to that, unfortunately. But George Russell drove really, really well. And again, he's showing that maturity and consistency and just delivering with a car that perhaps isn't, well, it's certainly not the best that it could be. And he's at least keeping Lewis honest. And I think if the opportunity presents itself, Mercedes are on hand to pick up the spoils. But the problem is that Ferrari aren't close enough to disrupt Red Bull. So there's no sort of strange things happening at the front, a bit like last year where Verstappen and Hamilton, they seem to take each other off. Well, they did take each other off a couple of times and it presented opportunities. Mercedes are going to have to just keep plugging away. And I think they can get some good points this weekend. A podium is probably the best they can hope for. But if Ferrari are reliable on track and on the pit wall, which is a big if, then Mercedes have just got to keep snapping away at their heels and hope that something falls their way. I don't see them having the pure pace to deal with Ferrari and Red Bull. And I think a big question mark will be how that Mercedes, because it's run so low and so stiff, how it deals with the banking of turn 3 and turn, I think it's 13. Someone can correct me on that. The final corner. So how that triggers the porpoising, and it's going to be the same for everybody, but Mercedes, we saw earlier in the year, struggle with that. It might just rear its ugly head again.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. It is not a flat, I mean, obviously the Netherlands is a very flat country, but the Zandvoort is anything but a flat circuit, especially the last corner, like you said, Aaron. It's it's a hell of it. It's spectacular to see the cars go through there, but that'll definitely be I think that'll be a clench moment for the first time that the Mercedes drivers go over that at full speed. But yeah, it's Mercedes in the ascendancy, Alpine in the ascendancy as well. Warren, another good weekend for them at Spa. That's now four double points finishes in a row this season. And because McLaren did not score any points, we'll get onto them very shortly, but because McLaren didn't score any points, the gap now between Alpine and McLaren is 20 points, which is a big lead in that midfield battle. And again, they're just so consistent. Even though Alonso was in the wars with Hamilton, they still both got double points. And it's kind of hard to see them not scoring double points again this weekend.
No, I agree with that. It's good to see that whatever driver market drama that they have off the track is definitely not affecting the car on circuit and everything like that. Obviously, Alonso's going to drive his heart out, especially when he's trying to take down Lewis or in a battle with Lewis as the team rated. But boy, they getting like Otmar. What has he said? 15 drivers have called to try and be in the seat next year. Anybody that's not in that car, they should be running to get into that seat. You should want to get. Look how good that car has been. They figured it out. Like, just like you said, ultimate consistency. Like, it's going to be there. They show good pace. Like they have put together a good team, and they are clearly the fourth fastest car on the grid. I think they've definitely overtaken McLaren with that this year, as it shows in the standings and everything. But they are solidifying themselves as like at the top of the midfield.
Yeah, Alpine making big progress there, definitely. And I thought was hoping McLaren would be able to beat them this season, but after it looks like the gap, if anything, has opened up even more because Karl, it was a double non-score for McLaren at the last weekend. Normally it's Ricciardo we can have a go at because he's just got a lack of pace, but the car was just well off. And when you have a Williams scoring points, when you have an Aston Martin scoring points, when you have an AlphaTauri that scored points from the pit lane, there's something seriously wrong with that car. It's incredibly inconsistent. So how do you see them getting on this weekend? Because it's almost just pick a result out of a lucky dip, really, at this point.
I just don't get it. Let's be honest though. Where did Ricciardo end up so far back? Still behind Norris, and Norris, was far back because of all these penalties. So I don't know what's going on in McLaren. They seem to have just left the planet of how to drive or how to at least manage their cars. The thing is, it's not like Ferrari where you can pinpoint who it is. It's the strategists. They're screwing up. I haven't actually quite worked out what is screwing up McLaren, and no one seems to be able to answer that. Is it the car? Is it the drivers? Is it the strategy? It doesn't seem to make any sense. And no one's talking about it. Everyone's just like, oh, it's Ricciardo's shit. Sorry, Ricciardo's rubbish, and we're going to have to deal with that. And then we'll just ignore Norris because he's doing better than Ricciardo. But, I'm a Norris fan. I love Norris. I think he's a great driver, but obviously something's not right in that car at the moment. And that's something that we're going to have to really look at. They're going to have to really look at. But no one's talking about it. So what is going on? And are they all distracted by the Oscar Piastri thing? Oscar Piastri thing? Or what is actually going on with it? But the McLarens are, they should be higher up. They should be 4th, 5th minimum, and they're 10th, 11th, 12th at the moment. So I don't know what's going on in that McLaren. I'd love to see what happens.
Yeah, it's a bizarre old situation. I don't know everything. Obviously, we don't know what's going on with Piastri, but it does seem like he's actively fighting to get out of Alpine and get into the McLaren. But you look at the pace of both teams right now. It's like, why would you want to be? But then again, obviously Alonso's. Obviously, I'm sure money was more than a deciding factor in that one. But obviously, Alonso is going to Aston Martin next year, so it's not just about performance this season. But yeah, I will give a mention as well that we are at the 5th place team. If you give us a 5-star review on iTunes or reviews on Spotify, we really appreciate it. If you give us a 5-star review on iTunes, we can shout you out. We do the same for the Spotify guys. But obviously we can't see who leaves those, but it was very, very much appreciated. I said we passed over 100. We've done that handsome. I think we got 168 last time I looked, reviews on Spotify, which is absolutely massive. Thanks so much to everybody who's listening. And to everybody who's watching on YouTube, I got to apologize for not showing my face in this one. My my camera is not playing ball today. But you know, you get a screen full of Aaron, Warren, and Karl, so I think you guys will be all right. But yeah, we do go out live for the previews, the qualifying reviews, and the race reviews as well. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I think we passed 700 subscribers as well on there, which is absolutely fantastic. But thanks. But let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to Alfa Romeo, Aaron, and again another one, a double non-point score. It's now 5 races in a row they haven't scored any points, and it's a crying shame for a car that was showing great pace, but at the same time you just can't help but feel they keep getting bad luck. I mean, I don't know what Bottas could have done. He was just avoiding a crash, just avoiding Latifi spinning out, wasn't he? Ends up in the gravel, he goes out, Latifi continues. It just seems like that team's a little bit cursed at the moment.
And on Bottas's birthday as well. I mean, how cruel is that from Latifi? It was so mean. I hope he brought him some cake afterwards. Yeah, Alfa are a bit of a funny situation at the moment. They're neither close enough to challenge for 4th, but they're not really being dragged into a fight for anywhere lower because Haas didn't score any points yesterday. Al-Fatari are a little bit all over the place and only scored with 1 car. And I think if you'd offered Alfa Romeo 5 races without scoring a point, having scored pretty regularly to start the season at the start of the year, they'd have snapped your hand off for it, because the last couple of seasons have been pretty dire by common consensus. I mean, that whether that was the car or the driver pairing, who knows? But it just seems to have come together this season. And like you say, they have just been a bit unlucky. They've been unfortunate enough to have the very worst of the Ferrari power unit reliability issues, because Zhou Guanyu has had several failures to finish. I think he had 3 in about 5 races. Bottas has failed to finish a couple of times with power unit issues. But when the car is going, it's quick and it's comfortably right in the middle of the midfield. And on its day, it can challenge the McLarens and the Alpines. And on its worst days, it's, you know, fighting with Haas and, depending on where they are, and Al-Fatari. So it's going to be, again, a little bit of a dive into the unknown for Alfa Romeo, because they could sort of end up anywhere. Depends what the track does and how well it suits them. So you can't really give a definite answer on where they're going to be. They'll be somewhere. I know that much. And they've got Bottas, who's driving so well. So if the car works, they've got someone who can definitely challenge for good points. And to be fair, Zhou Guanyu has driven excellently. So don't write him off either.
Yeah, they just need a break at the end of the day. They just need a clean weekend where no mechanical issues, no on-track issues or anything like that. And especially if Bottas qualifies well, because that car does have great one-lap pace, or at least he had great one-lap pace earlier in the year. Bottas is a great qualifier, we know that. So if you can just keep, get it up there and just keep it there, then you could probably get some points this weekend. We'll just have to see how that goes. Next up, we've got the Haas team. Again, no points for them last weekend, but you'd like to think they'd fare a bit better in this race, Warren. But they just seemed absolutely off the pace in Belgium. That car, despite getting some upgrades, it seemed worse, if anything.
Yeah, they brought the upgrades in Hungary too, and it did not work. The upgrades again in Belgium, as you said, did not work. They're so far off the pace. Who knows what this weekend is going to bring? Like the whole white Ferrari thing, it is far from it. I'm a little confused. Like I was reading up, it doesn't seem like they have a lot of answers for what's going on over there. I don't really know. Like the vibe at is the Haas vibe is weird right now. Like Gunther, they're not committing to Mick. It seems like they're ready to make a move off of him, and it's just like Is that weighing something with the team down? Who knows? It's just a weird vibe to me over at Haas. And you would think that Magnussen would be able to put up a little bit better performances than where he's been the last 2 races. But yeah, the upgrades seem so far to have not worked, and they were like the only team not to bring upgrades until Hungary. Everybody was like, what are they doing? They had a nice car, but it was just like, what is going on? It doesn't make sense over in Haasland.
No, it doesn't. It's bizarre. The car, again, a bit like McLaren, it's very hot and cold. It seems great some weekends and then seems pretty atrocious some other weekends. My gut is telling me they won't do particularly well around Zandvoort. It's a very technical track. It's not a high-speed one, but you just don't know. It's anything's possible with them when it comes to performance. Next up, we've got Al-Fatari. I mean, they got some points at least this weekend just gone. Gasly doing an incredible job to go from the pit lane to points. But aside from that, Karl, it's just been a really bad season for them. They've been well off the pace. But this was the site of one of Gasly's best results last season. I think he got a 4th place absolutely on merit. He was fantastic here last year. So maybe it could be a lucky circuit for them.
Yeah, possibly. It's definitely a possibility. I mean, to be fair on them, they started both in the pit and scored points. They are the sister team, whatever you want to call it, Red Bull. But there's obviously some movement going on in that team as well as to who's going where, and I think that there's a lot of distraction going in that team at the moment as well. I think Al-Fatari are could be a strong team, and Gasly is a good driver. I always think, he's the previous race in Belgium is obviously something of a memory for him, and it's never going to be one that's the greatest track, although he obviously did get a win or 3rd there a couple of years ago. But Belgium is not, I don't know, they do like that track. It does play to the Red Bull cars. So I think it should be a reasonable race. I would expect them to be, at least one of them to be back in the points again. Probably Gasly. But you never know what Tsunoda's going to really do with himself.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, Tsunoda's a bit more inconsistent. But to be fair, he's not been that far for Gasly for most this year. But yeah, let's see what they can do. It could be a good weekend for them. Gasly qualified 4th here last year, finished 4th. He was one of the best performances of the season, in my opinion. Very understated for him. Incredible performance, really. But let's move on. Let's go to the green team next. Let's go to Aston Martin. Vettel, despite some people maybe saying, he's not going to be motivated anymore, he's leaving the sport. He got a great 8th place at one of his best results of the season last weekend. Lance Stroll, I think, just missed out on points. I think he got another 11th place. So Aaron, around a track where it's hard to pass, where tyre wear is definitely key, it could be a decent weekend for them again. Aston Martin, they don't usually get a lot of points, but they usually get some. I think they've had points in 7 of the last 8 races, which is surprisingly consistent from the 9th place team.
Yeah, that surprises me. I didn't realise they were on quite a hot streak of points. But the point you make about the tyres is interesting, because we saw at some points earlier in the year, the Aston Martin drivers, it seemed like they were having to pay for their own tyres. They were pitting so infrequently. It'd be a difficult one to work out where they're going to end up, because they have these flashes where the car seems all right, and that tends to coincide with whenever they've bolted on a Red Bull side pod or a Ferrari-shaped wing or a Mercedes front wing, or so, whoever they've decided to copy most recently. I don't know how to read them, to be honest, because you've got Vettel, and you can't question his motivation because he's an absolute professional. He will drive that car to the best of his ability to the end of the season. There's question marks over Lance Stroll's absolute ability and how much further he can develop. So whether that car is actually being rung to its maximum is an interesting question to think about. Next year, it certainly will be with Fernando Alonso behind the wheel, and that might be part of the reasoning why they went after him, because he drives everything to the limit at all times. But for ZANDVOORT this weekend, I can't see them really penetrating the points this weekend. It would take something out of the ordinary to get Aston Martin that close to the points, like major grid penalties or a collision further up the field, multiple DNFs. I think it's going to be a bit of a struggle for the green machine this weekend, unfortunately.
Well, you never know. There's been some surprising results for them for sure. But yeah, I don't know what you mean. It's a more technical track, so it should be one that they probably struggle around. And probably also one that Williams will struggle around as well, Warren. But saying that, and Alex Albon, the first to admit it, he did a hell of a job backing up a lot of cars in the closing stages of the last race. I think he posted a photoshopped image of his Williams stretched really wide across the entire track after he got P10 on his Facebook. So, but he could produce another performance like that. You never know. But I wouldn't really hold that much hope for Latifi.
Oh, yeah, I would say Latifi, not a lot of hope. Albon, I would say, has a little bit better chance, but still don't think so. Don't think with how short kind of the straights are, the straight line speed that they had is not going to be that great, that big an advantage at ZANDVOORT. So I would say probably not the best for Williams this weekend. I did think yesterday in the race, it was pretty funny that lap 14, we had the whole jumble grid and everything, and by like lap 14, Latifi was already back in his rightful home in 18th place, which was last on the grid. So everything felt right with Max leading and Latifi back in 8th place with all jumbled. It didn't take that long for everybody to get back in their normal spots.
Yeah, no, I didn't do. I can't believe how fast Verstappen got through the field. But let's see. Yeah, some things never change. Latifi in 18th, 19th place or whatever. It's always the same. He's incredibly consistent, just not in good places. So we've gone through all the 10 teams, all 20 drivers. We'll now do our predictions for our top 3 and our bold prediction. Top 3 for me, unfortunately, I'm going to go with something incredibly boring. I'm going to go for a Red Bull 1-2 with Verstappen leading the pair home. So Verstappen first, Perez second. I'll go for Sir Lewis in third. I feel like he'll have a good weekend after his mistake in the last race. We'll see how that goes. Aaron, what's your top 3 prediction?
I have to agree with you that Verstappen will probably win this race. I'm going to go with Leclerc second. I think he's just got, if the Ferrari is useful around that circuit, he's got enough to challenge Verstappen. I think that the pace deficit will be much less, hopefully, this weekend, just from a sort of competition standpoint. For third place, you could go with Sainz, or I'd like to see one of the Mercedes up there. Perez drove well yesterday. I'll go with Perez because Red Bull just have the package at the moment. And, they could easily, like you say, walk away with another 1-2. And it's just a matter of time before they wrap up both championships, unfortunately.
I can't disagree with any of that. Yeah, Red Bull just seemed to have the best car by far. I think it was quite even between Ferrari and Red Bull in terms of the pace of the car earlier in the season. But Red Bull have just absolutely kicked on. There's no two ways about it. Karl, what's your top 3 prediction?
I'm surviving mute. I think, I'm sorry, it's going to be the same as yours, George. I don't think I can be any cleverer than that.
I feel sorry for you then, mate.
There's no other clever way of doing it. I think it's Hamilton. It's Verstappen, Perez, Hamilton. I think the Ferraris just are going to be Ferraris. So what's the point of trying to put them in there? And especially when they don't believe in themselves, it doesn't help us either.
No, it doesn't. Definitely not. But the man with the red shirt on in this podcast, Warren, could you see a Ferrari on the podium this weekend?
Yeah, I was gonna say Leclerc gets third, but I agree. Max and Checo go 1-2. It's an orange shirt. It's my Cleveland Brown shirt.
Close enough. Close enough.
but no, I think Leclerc he'll nick third somehow, some way. But no, I think it's a Red Bull 1-2. I agree with you guys there.
Fair enough. So, bold prediction time. You know what? I'm gonna go with. I mentioned Gasly having a really good result here last year. I'm gonna go with Gasly for the top 6, which would be something very out of the blue. I don't expect it to happen, I'll be honest, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. Aaron, what's your bold prediction?
So, from what I'm reading in from yours, is it's all boring and the usual at the front. In the midfield, there's carnage and everything else, and then Latifi's just at the back. That's how I'm reading. You
can't change that, mate.
In his rightful home. Bold prediction. Do you know what? I'm going to go with Albon for back-to-back points. He's driven so well. He's actually taken the George Russell mantle of driving the wheels off of a Williams. So, yeah, I'm going to tip him for more points.
Fair enough. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see Williams somehow get a bit close to Aston. I don't see them getting anything better than 10th this year. But if they can make some sort of battle out of it, that'd be great. I'd love that. Karl, what's your bold prediction?
It has to be there will be a red flag. I feel like we haven't had one in a while. And we've hardly had a safety car. So let's crash, bang, wallop in the midfield and really set it all alight. Not literally, because that would be mad, but you know what I mean.
Well, the looks of some of the teams right now, it wouldn't surprise me if 2 Alphas hit 2 Hasses or something like that, with the way those teams are going at the moment.
Or Ricciardo just explodes because he's realised he's rubbish. But yeah.
Ricciardo, honestly, don't get me started on Ricciardo. Oh. Anyway, Warren, what's your bold prediction?
I'm going to say that George Russell finishes outside the top 5. I think every race he's finished this year, he's finished inside the top 5.
Yes!
And I'm saying he will not. He's outside the top 5 this week.
Yeah, the undisputed driver of the season so far, George Russell.
Undisputed? Really? Undisputed?
I'm joking. One of the best, without a doubt. But Cole will disagree with that. I know he will. Hey, look, you never know. Something crazy like that could happen. But he has been very consistent, as we know. So it would take something like that to kind of break the point streak. The top 5 streak as it is. But yeah, let's see what happens with that. I will give you guys a chance to plug your outlets as well. Aaron Harper, obviously you are part of the 5 Red Lights podcast. You're showing this by your amazing animation at the top of your video. For the guys who are listening right now, go check out the video to see that. That is, honestly, I bet you've spent many hours making that. But tell us all about 5 Red Lights, mate.
So it's an F1 podcast. I'm recording the Belgium Grand Prix cap tomorrow morning. So it should be out Wednesday. You can find me on Twitter at 5_red_lights. You can find me, well, if you're watching the video, you just look at the handles in the corner. I also write for F1 Chronicle and Inside F2, and I'm streaming an F1 manager save with Alpine on Twitch, where I can only use Alpine junior drivers and their current drivers as well.
Alpine using their junior drivers? What kind of messed up reality is this?
Who would have thought it?
Alpine can't even use their own drivers if they want to. Like, they want to use Piastri. Just like, no, I don't want to go.
Is there a law dispute in it, Aaron?
Well, let's see. At the moment, I've got Ocon in like a little jail just to keep him there so he can't run away.
What, the 3rd seat?
Yeah.
Bloody hell. So yeah, Karl, tell us all about the monkey seat. You did that with one of our regular hosts, Tom Horrocks.
Yeah, so we're a Monkey Seat podcast. I do it with Tom, my partner in crime. We're a sweary, jokey, don't really give a hoot about anything podcast, and we have a laugh, and we don't take ourselves seriously. We break down everything. in Formula One and try and find the silliness in it all, and try and understand what the hell's going on, and are very opinionated and a bit shouty, and a bit sweary. But yeah, we have a lot of fun, and we, me and Tom's the sensible one of the two, but we do have a lot of fun on it. And yeah, it's on all the the usuals as Monkey Seat Podcast.
Yeah, and you guys go live out on YouTube as well.
Oh yeah, we're recording tomorrow. I don't know what time, but we are recording tomorrow.
It's also a lottery as to where we get Karl coming to us from. Sometimes it's his car, sometimes it's his office.
Yeah, I'm currently in Wicklow, County Wicklow in Ireland. So who knows where we're going to be next.
just trotting around the island of Ireland. It was somewhere over there, probably. I've mentioned that you're part of Paddock Pals Podcast. Warren, want to give us a little elevator pitch about that?
Yeah, it's my cousin Rachel and I. We F1 podcast. We did a Belgium recap already up. We did it yesterday. We'll do a preview on Wednesday. A little fun, lighthearted podcast the two of us do. So yeah, you can check us out wherever you get your podcast. We're on Twitter, Instagram, all the socials as well. We'll try and put some extra content out there. But Rachel and I, we have a fun time. You were on it. You were our first guest on it.
I was. I had a great time, and I do enjoy listening to your guys' show. I listen to all the shows. All the people who come on people who come on Grid Talk, and yeah, they're all fantastic. And obviously, these are 3 great examples of that too. So yeah, so I will let you guys know as well that obviously you can find us on Facebook. Just search for F1 Chronicle for that. You can find us on Twitter at F1 Chronicle. If you want to search us up on TikTok, I do a weekly video on there, 60-second video ranting about something in Formula One. I'm not sure what I'm going to do this week, but probably something about Verstappen just running away with everything, and as he is at the moment. And yeah, if you want to support the show financially, you can head over to our shop, f1chronicle.com/store. I am wearing one of the shirts from that store, but unfortunately you can't see it right now. You just have to take my opinion to that. But if you want to support us another way, you can always go to our Patreon as well, so I can get a better camera to record these shows with. And we're also available on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Verbal, Omni Studio, Pocket Cast, and the F1 Chronicle website. So f1chronicle.com. I want to thank all my panelists for coming on this week. I really do appreciate it, as always.
No problem. Enjoyed it.
Always good fun.
It was fun.
Thank you very much, lads. And yes, you can catch us for qualifying analysis of the Dutch Grand Prix on Saturday, about an hour after the event itself. I think it'll be 5 p.m. British time for that, 6 p.m. in Europe. Yeah, so see you for that one. Thank you very much, everybody, and goodbye. All right, we're still going out live. Just gonna.
Surely your rant has to be about how everyone just lets Verstappen past and there's no racing.
that is not a bad idea. Yeah.
That is the rant. That would be at least half of the show of Monkey Seat. Will be me ranting about that.
Well, he has them all beaten like psychologically, doesn't he? Because he knows that if he shows a wheel, they're all going to jump out of the way because none of them can afford an accident.
Yeah, none of them want to have that fight, do they?
No. And what you saw is when he did this all the way through, like the early years of his career, and as soon as Hamilton stopped doing that, there was collisions.
Yeah.
And as soon as he was all nicey with Leclerc earlier on because it was the start of the season. He knew he didn't want to lose too many points because it's new regs. But if they were closer now, I don't think he'd be taking any prisoners. And I think Leclerc would jump out the way.
He did jump out the way, didn't he?
Were they even together on the track yesterday?
They must have been at some point. They must have been. No, maybe he was just ahead of the whole time.
Got him in the
No, he was just ahead the whole time because he was at the back, wasn't he?
Yeah, and it was Verstappen's tear-off from his visor that went in Leclerc's brake.
Yeah, that was it. So he wasn't even, Sorry, you're all right, Aaron. But yeah, I still think he would jump out the way no matter what.
Yeah,
and we'll see it tomorrow. We'll see it tomorrow, on Saturday. No, Sunday even. What the hell am I on? Yeah, we'll see it on
Champions
Sunday.
League F1.
Yeah.
That's the thing, that the guy's got a presence about him. You know, people are, in a way, quite rightfully afraid of him because they know how he just does not take any prisoners. He has a faster car, and frankly, he's a faster driver than a lot of them as well. So you can see from their perspective why they'd be like, oh, I don't want to get involved in that.
Yeah.
You know, I understand it, but I know what you mean. It is a bit like easy, but at the same time, it's also because it was Spa, because he was so fast. I don't think they could have done anything about it. The guy was past them before the braking zone. There was no
exactly.
fight to be had.
On Saturday, they were all like resigned to the fact that he was going to win anyways, and he was starting in 14. Not that, I mean, you figured he was going to win, but they were like, their pace is worrying. Like, this is a worry. Like, they were already resigned to the fact before that.
I don't think these new regulations have stopped what was meant to be the idea of lining them all up from back to front, and and allowing closer racing, because all that's just happened is we still line them up at the fastest at the front and the slowest at the back, and wonder why we're still not getting much close racing at the top or the bottom end, and then obviously everything is a mess in the middle.
Well, it's the normal new regulation big spread. We see it all the time. You hope that teams will come out with cars that are similar in performance, but the only way you're going to do that is if you make it like a 50% spec series. They all get the same front, rear wing and side pods, and then they're free to develop like the underfloor and a few bits on top of the main chassis, and it's how you then mechanically set the car up. But then you might as well just do the whole shebang and have a spec series, and save money that way.
Just going to go through some questions. We had a few questions on live chat. So Connor Walker, as always, my man, he's there commenting like a boss. He's put a few questions in here. He's put, I think the Schumacher and Vettel 13 wins in a season record might be in jeopardy this year. And, I have to agree. I also think that potentially with how it's going, it's a long way still to go before that happened, but potentially the record of Vettel's 9 wins in a row, he's only on 3 at the moment, but the way he's going, it's like, it doesn't matter where he starts, he's going to just beat everybody anyway.
Yeah.
He won't do 9.
You don't think so?
9. There will be a race where Ferrari are quick enough and Leclerc will win a race.
I don't think so, because even when Ferrari are quick enough, the strategy screws up, or the car breaks down, or something. So I think you've got more chance of what's his name? The one I don't like. Yeah, that one. I think you've got more chance of him beating Verstappen than you have of Leclerc at the moment, and that's a scary thought for me.
Actually, I think George might be one of those that doesn't jump out of the way.
No, I don't think he would. He would fight him.
No, neither would Hamilton. So if there was a fair fight between the old school fair fight between Mercedes and Red Bull, that would be fun. They're coming up. They're slowly going to get there.
Yeah, Mercedes have got nothing to really lose at this point, so they might as well try and just make it a bit difficult for him.
Yeah.
Which they would do. I'd love to see it. I think it'd be so funny.
# we're here to cause havoc.
# we're not going to win, so let's cause bedlam.
Bloody hell, yeah. Let's go for some more of these. Connor's also put, Danny Rick isn't blameless. I get why McLaren want to move on, but they've been performing poorly lately and they should share some of the responsibility. They've had some... Yeah,
they did say as much
at times. Yeah,
they did say as much in their press release. But the thing is, it's just not working. Either side, it's not working anymore, is it?
Yeah, but it's not working for Norris either, because he's not in the points. So what's going on? But no one's talking about it. It's that big thing of no one's talking about McLaren.
Lando is McLaren's golden child.
Yeah, but why are we not talking about the fact that Lando isn't winning, isn't up there anymore? He was started off the season quite strongly, and slowly he's been going backwards.
Yeah, but so is the car. So when the car was good, Lando picked up the podium in Imola. Ricardo by that point was out of the race, actually. So
but it does feel like look over here, Ricardo's causing us problems. Look over here, don't worry about my poor little boy over here. But look over here, Ricardo's the problem child.
It's that meme, isn't it, of the mum in the swimming pool with the baby, and the baby like on the edge of the pool jumping in is Oscar Piastri. Lando's like the one drowning, and Ricardo's the skeleton.
Yeah, exactly that.
I didn't think I'd hear that one today, I'll be honest, but fair enough.
Come to mama.
Another one from Connor here. He's put, Ferrari have made a ton of mistakes, but they've actually improved a lot from last year, whereas McLaren have taken a big step backwards. Well, yeah, that's the thing that's so frustrating about Ferrari. Like this year, they genuinely had one of, if not fastest cars this year. It's not fastest anymore, but it was for a while up there with Red Bull for sure, just depending on the track. But it's so frustrating because they could have done so much better. They could have kept the championship battle close, but they just keep cocking up constantly. It's unreal.
They also put Leclerc forward as the golden child and forgot about Sainz, and that didn't help them because they could have been a lot higher up in the constructors had they given a damn about the other driver.
Yeah.
And that's the problem there. They didn't give a damn about the other driver. They put everything into the drivers' championship, and now they've lost both. So well done.
Yeah.
Well done, Ferrari.
15 years since they had lost drivers champion.
16 years.
It'll be 16
years.
next year. Yeah. It's gonna keep going. It's gonna keep going.
It's going to get to the point where we're going to say, I was alive when Ferrari last won a world championship.
Oh my God. Yeah, literally. It's going to be like that, isn't it? Back in my day, Ferrari were championship winning team. Yeah, sure, Grandad.
Yeah, there's going to be podcasters on this that aren't even going to know a Ferrari win. That's worrying. We're not far off now, are we?
Exactly.
Yeah, Louis was like 2, so.
Was Louis born then?
Yeah, just about. No, he was. He was like 7, I think.
Yeah.
I can say I was a child last time Ferrari won a championship.
I was a child, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm almost 30 now.
Just becoming a bright teenager at that time. Yeah. God.
We're showing our age now. Look at us. Bunch of old men.
Well, yeah, Carl's got 3 kids now. It's gone from kid to having kids.
Yeah.
That's how long it's taken Ferrari.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, I think we'll call it there, lads. Unless there's anything you want to go through at all.
No.
I have a question.
Go
on.
So do you think anybody else will get so Lando's the only one out of the big 3 or the top 6, whatever, that's got a podium this year. Do you think anyone will he get another podium, or will anybody else outside of the top 6 drivers snatch a podium this year?
Bottas.
I think. Yeah.
I've got a weird feeling. Yeah. I've got a weird feeling like Ocon would get one, just completely out of the blue.
Ocon, Alonso
will get a podium, and then he'll get it taken away from him because he's a naughty boy.
Yeah.
Weaving down the straights.
Because he's cut a corner at Singapore or something. He's found like a little back road to go down.
That'd be his swan song, won't it, for Alpine? He'll get a podium and Alpine and then stick his 2 fingers up as he leaves.
He'll use one of the alternate layouts at Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Just cut through using the go-kart track.
I think Alonso probably the one for me.
I agree with Alonso.
You know,
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it, but yeah,
I would be so annoyed if it was Alonso.
Wouldn't we all?
I have such a love-hate relationship with Alonso. Sometimes I'm like, yes, he's brilliant. Keep him in the sport. And then yesterday, I just wanted to throw him out the window.
I'll tell you what, it did make me laugh when I heard his radio about Hamilton. Like, oh, this guy only knows how to start in the first place.
I was so angry.
But I also quite liked Hamilton's response to that of, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Shrugged
care.
it off.
I screwed up. I'm not gonna start on this fight. So yeah, grand, whatever, lads.
Yeah, no, to be fair, he didn't have anywhere to hide on that one. But yeah, at least admit
it was Alonso's fault. I mean, why was he even there? He retired.
How
he should be rolling out the royal red carpet for Sir Lewis Hamilton.
Although I have downloaded Alonso's new audiobook. Well, pre-ordered it. So
he's got a book coming out.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be funny. That
of course called Alonso because why else?
I really hope he spills some beans on 2007.
I think he will. I think it'd be quite a.
Do you reckon he's like contracted? He's got like he can't speak about it. perhaps.
I bet he can't speak about it. I wonder what he's going to say about like.
Oh no, it's called Racer. The
Racer.
autobiographer, Racer. Fernando
Born
Alonso.
Racer.
When's it come out? Oh, on Boxing Day. So that's my Boxing Day.
Oh God, right.
This
I have
thing.
to wait a while for that.
Yeah. Why is the audiobook? That's got to come out pre-Christmas. The book. Like, why would they release a book after Christmas?
I don't
Seems
know.
a bit
Hang on.
strange.
Oh, that is
Christmas
a bit
presents. The audiobook comes out on Boxing Day. according to
Yeah.
this.
Boxing Day, because everybody famously has so much money after Christmas.
Yeah. But it's like the ultimate present for all your Spanish friends.
Oh, so the hardcover on Amazon, 29th of September.
There we go. There's the
Oh.
audiobook that's coming out
It's
later.
a month, right?
There we go. Oh, I'm going to have to buy that
If
for
it-
my best friend
if it's
who's
so
a
funny if
mad
he narrated
Alonso
it.
fan. Oh, can you imagine? Who's doing the narration?
I'd love it if he did the
Nice.
narration. Like I loved what's his face? Famous BTC driver, Jason Plato. I loved his audiobook because he narrated it.
Yeah.
It was absolutely brilliant. Just
Coulthard did his as well, and Damien
did.
Hill.
let's give theirs a try. I haven't heard theirs yet.
Yeah,
I've,
it's
re-
good.
I've read DC's first book. That's quite interesting.
The second book's about business, so unless you're into
Ah.
business, and same with
the-
Jensen Button's second book, it's more
Yeah.
businessy.
The first DC book has quite a funny little story. He you know how all these racing drivers and sportsmen are just superstitious. So he wore the
Oh,
same
yeah.
pair of underpants like forever and ever. And they had like all these holes in and everything. And then he had an accident and they got him out and Sir Jackie Stewart's there. And they took off his overalls and he's there with Sir Jackie Stewart just looking at him with his dick hanging out. These really old underpants.
I'll tell you what, Jackie is. I've seen Sir Jackie Stewart. He is a very small guy, so yeah, that's it's very short fella. So I think that would have been a bit too close for him. Bless him. That's yeah.
Got a face full of it.
Yeah. Oh my God. Right. On that note,
There we go.
on that bombshell.
All right.
Let's leave it there. I'll probably be on the. It's a triple header, isn't it? So I'll probably be on the Italian preview this time next week as well. So
Okay.
yeah. So
I'm probably not available the weekend of the Italian Grand Prix because I'm moving house.
hey, nice.
Yeah.
Glad you got that through.
So yeah,
I'll probably
Eighth of-
be available for the preview.
Carl will be in a
Nice one.
car park in Ireland somewhere
Who knows where I'll be?
with strange people walking around his car.
Yeah. You were really harping back to an old episode, Aaron.
I enjoyed that one. It was so funny.
She was weird. She just kept walking past. I was like, what the hell's going on?
So bizarre.
Just park yourself in the middle of a ceremony or something going on. Like,
But don't worry, there'll be ones from some random film set at some point, I'm sure.
Carl will come live from a wedding at some point, won't he?
oh yeah, I remember for the what was it? The where's Ricardo going, or who's going to Aston Martin or something like that? You were just outside in like a tent or something, weren't you, Carl, having lunch?
What's this?
But you know, there was a video we all did, like for where is
Oh,
Ricardo?
that was at work.
going?
That was at work.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you're
That's at work,
outside.
yeah.
Yeah, having lunch
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. That's at work. Outside a lighting truck or something, I think it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds about right.
Brilliant.
Oh god.
All right, well, I'll
lads.
let you all get off.
Right, yeah.
And,
See you later, lads. Enjoy the rest
see
of
you
your
later.
days. And,
See
take
you
care.
later. See you,
See you
Warren.
later, guys. Bye.
Carl. See you later, George.
Bye.